What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.
At NBS, we believe in banking for life. For over 160 years, we've been a trusted banking provider for generations of locals like you. We know our clients personally and build long-term relationships with them, offering flexibility by giving our staff freedom to make quick decisions to put them first. Experience banking for life with NBS.
Welcome back to the Bays Joinery Football Focus, your prime source for all things football in the top of the South. I'm Chris Butler, and alongside me, my co-host Ryan Skippy Stewart. Good to see you again, mate.
Good to see you back, mate. Looking a bit browner, a little bit of tan.
Well, I don't know. I've gone from blue to white, basically. But yeah, 25 degrees on the beach on the Gold Coast. It's a bit of a change in temperature coming back here. Today, we're thrilled to have back Neil Geeza Harding. Good to have you back, mate.
Good to be back, mate.
Coach of the Nelson Suburbs Southern League Women, amongst other things. YouTube star now with
Geeza one-on-ones.
So those three young guys hitting the crossbar. I think it was 4 in a row or 3 in a row.
Finalists.
So no editing there. They
all clean in a row. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, my one missed my demonstration, but those boys nailed it. Really good.
Really enjoy watching those. A big shout out to our naming rights sponsor, Bays Joinery, led by George Molnar and the team, for all your joinery needs. And also our Turf Hotel, stand of the team here. Got to mention, Friday night, Hysteria is playing. Saturday is Kick. And there's a meat raffle as well. In my days, I think it was like $50 or $100 meat packs. But
that's huge.
$2,100 meat pack. So
the whole cow.
And the Hot Wings Challenge, you've got to come down. Josh has done it. He's on the Wall of Flame, stands at the Wall of Shame.
I just watched that kid Josh do that on the Facebook. They've got a video of him doing it. Yeah, so shout out to Josh. It looked like you were in pain, mate, but you got through it.
He obviously, his mouth must be just numb.
Yeah.
Today's episode, we're talking senior men and women's local premiership, the Southern League for both men and women, and the latest from New Zealand football, the A-League and the Premiership. Senior football update brought to you by Sheehan Financial, KiwiSaver Insurance and Financial Planning. Mark and the team, shout out to them. Nelson Pine Senior Women, we're going straight. Oh no, I was going to say we're going straight into the draw because Kate Shepherd wasn't this weekend, was it, Geeza? That's coming up.
It's coming up soon. Yeah, there was a fixture this weekend, but it wasn't played just because one of the teams wasn't going to enter and they couldn't get a team together.
Right.
So, yeah, the next round's out now. And I think it's on King's birthday weekend.
Yes. So there was a round on the 11th with senior women football. So the results there, Nelson Suburbs Swans, 7-1 over the Richmond Foxes, 7-1 over the Swans. The Golden Bay Shield Maidens are going down 2-4. Nelson Suburbs Reserves, Motueka Angels going down 3-11, the Mapua Cougars. So Mapua Cougars firing there. And Getcars FC Nelson Diamonds going down 1-11, the Spriggan Tahuna Breakers. So the draw for this weekend, and probably some tighter fixtures this weekend. The Motueka Angels taking on Getcars FC Nelson Diamonds. That might be reasonably close.
That'll be a good game. That'll be the game those two teams will be looking forward to, I would say. So, yeah, that'll be good for those both teams to have that game coming up because I know it's been a rough couple of weeks for some of those teams down the bottom. So
Motueka putting away 3 against Mapua Cougars, so they're getting on the score sheet, and they do have the hometown advantage. So they may be earmarking this one, but of course the Diamonds would be looking to get their season underway. Spriggan Tahuna Breakers actually travelling quite well. Another tight match. They're at home against the Golden Bay Shield Maidens.
Yeah, that'd be a big
what do you reckon, Geeza?
Well, over the years, the girls at Tahuna have struggled, but this year they're doing really well. They've got a lot of goals in them. I think Ruby Cunningham scoring a lot of goals for them. I think she's got golden boot already. And yeah, they got a new coach down there, extra players. I think a few of the old FC girls have helped them out this year. And yeah, they're really strong, getting some good results. So it's quite good from them. So I'm hoping they keep winning and do well.
It's the derby, Nelson Suburbs Reserves taking on the Swans at Saxton Field. So the Reserves are travelling pretty well, though, aren't they?
Yeah, again, it's a young side. They do have a few experienced players in there helping, which is brilliant. And then the Swans are more of an experienced team. So again, I wouldn't look at the score lines too much from last week and think that that's going to be a one-sided affair. I think the Swans will get up for that game, and I think that'll be a good test for the young girls.
It'll be a great watch as well because a lot of those girls know each other, and a few of the girls played years ago together and stuff like that. So yeah, they know each other quite well, the team. So played in good spirits, and who knows what will happen.
Mapua Cougars, after a big win, taking on the Richmond Foxes. The Cougars are at home. So what are we thinking about that one?
Yeah, I think the Foxes are hard to beat.
They're
to
still
be honest,
pretty well.
Yeah, they're well organised, and they got great people within that team. I know Michaela's dad, I think, has took on the team at the moment, and Michaela does a lot of work inside the team and outside the team, and they're got a good bunch of girls there, and yeah, some experience and some youth, and yeah, they're traveling really, really well this season. So yeah, I think it'll be a good game though out Mapua. I think they'll enjoy it, and just on that, I was part of a meeting on Monday night with all the sort of people involved in women's football in the region and trying to improve the league and what we can do and ideas. So shout out for all the clubs because it was a really good meeting. I think we've made really good progress. So giving up their time to try to improve the league for all teams. So shout out to all the people from all the clubs that were at that meeting, and hopefully we can keep moving forward and make that a better league.
So there was some talk about if the score blows out beyond 10, to perhaps have a cap and then
more of a fair,
review the game and then perhaps mix it up a bit.
And a fair play. Like if everyone's lopsided, can we look at ways to the Tahuna Breakers coach who haven't had seen or sort of caught up with before? He made some really good points about if you're playing a team that's a lot stronger than you, maybe you can ask them, can you set up different to challenge them, or can you sit back and try to defend and allow us to attack you? And I think it's a great idea. I think everyone develops at different ages. So I think we're going in the right direction with that league. What we do got to make sure though is we look after both, because we've got girls that want to push on and there's girls that are doing social. So I think if we can get the right balance, I think it'll improve that league.
Yeah, because there was a little bit of controversy about the high score line a few weeks ago, which caused the meeting in the first place. So I think the mercy rule is a good idea, but also it does put a few players in a tough position because a lot of the reserves are trying to play in the Southern League, and they're trying to play to their absolute best to get recognised to up their football level. So we've got to try and manage that where we can tone them down a little bit in certain games so they don't do too much, but they still want to try and impress the coaches.
Yeah, I think, like, for instance, to give you an example, I mean, ideally, especially if you're a younger player, you want to play with your mates and, you want to play for your club. But after you've secured the 3 points at 10-0, is there anything wrong with giving your top striker and having a chat and saying, look, if you want to impress Geeza to get into that side, go and score some goals
play on their team.
For their team and against a better defence.
And Michaela from Richmond made a really good point. I mean, she says some teams are actually struggling for numbers at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you've got a bench of 4 people, then why don't you give them a few?
Yeah.
And again, at least they're getting minutes, and then you can rotate those people helping out the other team.
I know the Golden Bay Maidens last year did that quite often.
I think it's a good idea.
If you're struggling on numbers, they'd give them players. Yeah,
it's all going in the right direction, which is good.
Getting the coaches to talk before kick-off and stuff like that. And
Women's standing, the top 3, the reserves sitting on top with 15 points, followed by the Richmond Foxes. So that's interesting. That's going to be quite a close competition because normally you're seeing the Foxes way ahead of the game, but the reserves, they're showing that competition for places in the
game in hand there, though.
Yeah, it looks like the Foxes have played a game less.
Yes, that's right. They do have a game in hand, but I mean, it is quite close. It's not all about the Foxes.
It's going to be the game to watch, isn't it?
And the Swans not too far behind.
And Tahuna have turned a corner.
Yes,
I think Tahuna. Quietly going about their business, Tahuna, and getting some good results and seem to be improving every week.
Yeah, results. This weekend, Chatham Cup, and interesting match on the weekend. FC Nelson versus Tahuna. It must have been close when I saw that scoreline 3-2. And we do know, because I watched the first time they played in the league round, that Tahuna held their own right up till it was about 10 minutes to go. So, Geeza, you're at the game. So
Yeah, I was at the game because I'd played in the game just before in the second div for Tahuna. So I was knocking around potentially on the bench for the first team, but they didn't need me in the end. So I was a bit ragged by then. Yeah, it was actually a really good game because, we thought Tahuna might struggle in that game against a strong FC team, but they actually went one up quite early. Seth scored a good goal and they held the lead for a long time. And then, long story short, 2-2 went into extra time. Both teams battling quite well. And then FC scored a great goal, to be fair. I think Pun put it in the top corner. Absolutely great goal. But a little bit of a controversial moment at the end where there was a potential penalty. And, so the referee spoke to the linesman and the penalty got overruled and went out for a throw-on. So a little bit of controversial there, but, it's not up to me to make any decisions in that respect. The linesman was Bridie. So he might have said a few magical words to the ref. You never know. But, there's a few nail-biters there thinking it was a penalty. And then it got disallowed for a throw. But apart from that, it was probably one of the best local games I've watched in a long time. Good. Massive support from both teams, heaps of people down there, and great football. So
yeah, I mean, it's always what would you say? A great atmosphere at Tahuna, but you always feel if you're going to play against Tahuna and they're playing at home that you're up against it. If it's not the wind, there's
always a few on the sideline.
Yeah, sure. It's a very difficult place to play, but it's great. That was a great day out. And Suburbs beating Richmond 5-0. Skippy, was that the full squad or a bit of a mix?
No, yeah, we haven't been going well in the SPL. We've had 2 results. The Tech one, they're a good side, but we definitely weren't our best. And then Nomad's a team we should be beating. We just didn't turn up. We were awful in that game and didn't get going. So we probably didn't make as many changes as we would have liked because we were just trying to find some fluency with the group. So we did give a couple of young boys a run, but yeah, it was more or less our strongest team bar 3 or 4. But Richmond spoke to the coach after the game. I thought they were fantastic defensively. They set up really well. They tried to frustrate us, and fair props to them. They did it for a long, long time, and it was good discipline.
Well, that's what I was wondering because, although on paper that's a big score, Richmond's a young side, and I thought that was actually a pretty good result for them.
Yeah, and I said they were fantastic. I thought they worked really, really hard without the ball, and the coach was really proud of them after the game. And to see they had a 15-year-old, I think you can't remember Daniel's name, might have been their young right back. He did fantastically well at 15 years old. So good things for them with the young team going forward, but they'll improve locally as well. I think they've got a few older lads coming back into the squad now, so I think that Richmond team will be a bit stronger going forward. And then for us, again, we're back in the Southern League this week, and we've got to bounce on from that one and see if we can get back on track in the league.
So FC Nelson, Mark John, and Suburbs Mark John, and also Geeza, you're in the next round for the Cape Shepherd Cup. So, and that's going to be played on the same day, we believe. Is that right?
Double header.
So
that'd be awesome.
We spoke to TJ the previous round. If we drew each other, we might try to do something as 2 clubs at Trafalgar Park. But now the girls have been drawn as well. The club will probably want it at Saxton's because we can make a big club day of it. But we'll see. It might change, but for us, to have both teams at home in the next round, it'd be a huge day for us at Saxton's. So
you could do a deal on the bar. TJ might give you a bit more percentage.
Yeah, but we'll see. But
great at Trafalgar Park.
Yeah, so we'll see. It'll
be it's always good at Saxton as well on a big day.
Yeah.
Nelson Pine Premiership Division 1 results. 11-1 against Motueka, so Rangers really showing their class at home, and that was the only fixture. Must have been a catch-up game, is that right? That was played on the 11th.
Again, it was the Chatham Cup.
Because of the Cup games.
So our Division 1 lads have missed 2 games now because they haven't played because they were either drawn against Richmond or they've either been drawn against FC. So, they've been a bit frustrated the last couple of weeks because they've had no football. But, Motueka are doing it hard at the moment in that league.
It could have been, it's always a struggle to get teams over the hill, whether it be Golden Bay or Marlborough, but it could have been because the weekend wasn't on. It was a struggle to get players there. The draw for this weekend, Rangers taking on Sprig and Fern Tahuna. It's away. So Tahuna will be buoyed by that game against FC, but always a tough ask against Rangers.
It's tough to travel, really. It all depends on where it's being played a lot in that game. And a game down there, you don't really come back with 3 points too often against a strong team at home. But when they travel up here, it's a bit more close. I'd like to see Tahuna win that game, but it's probably going to be a tough battle down in Blenheim.
Nelson Suburbs reserves taking on FC Karenni, and that'll be a good match.
That'll be a very good game of football, I think. It's on the number 1 pitch as well, which I think Karenni will like. And our boys will like as well. So yeah, that'll be a really good game.
Both teams move the ball very well. Actually, that would be a sharp game to watch.
Not calling that.
I would say we'd be too strong. I think Dave's got a good group there at the moment. The boys are working hard. The ones that are sort of in and around our first team are down there trying to prove a point. So I think that'll be a very good game of football, but I think we could take that out.
Big day at Jubilee Park, Smith & Sons Richmond taking on Motueka.
Yeah, again, 2 teams coming off results of losses, but
it'd be close.
I think Richmond will take a lot of the performance against us. I thought they were very good, and I think they might be
Richmond
a bit
at
strong
home as well.
Yeah, I think they might be a bit strong from that.
Yeah.
FC Nelson First taking on the mighty Golden Bay Mountain Goats, and they always put up a good battle, don't they? I'm pretty sure I've seen Golden Bay tip up FC home before. So, but FC, pretty strong at home, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a strong team at home for sure. But Golden Bay, they're so unpredictable. I love that club. They're brilliant. So, on their day, you never know what's going to happen with those guys. They've got a strong side in there. They're competing well, so you never know.
Calling it.
Tough ones.
Yeah, I'd probably go FC.
FC at home.
Yeah, definitely.
The top 3 as they stand, Rangers sitting on top on 10, FC Karenni sitting second. They'll be pretty happy with that. FC does have a game in hand. They're sitting on goal difference in third. So, yeah, there you go. Great to see Karenni there. The Southern League women, the draw for this weekend, and we'll come back to your game, Geeza, but we've got Selwyn United versus NW United at Foster Park. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, Nomads. Nomads probably will win that game because Selwyn are struggling a little bit. They're quite a strong side, the new Nomads. That's who we're playing in the next round of the Cape Shepherd. But yeah, they've got a few weaknesses as well. Like when we played them, we definitely should have beat them. We made a few mistakes that cost us the game, but we was all over them and we felt we should have had that result. So I think they'll beat Selwyn just because Selwyn are bottom of the league. But close game. Women's football, anything can happen.
University of Canterbury have the bye. The next one, Coastal Spirit taking on Hallsville. What do we think?
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on at Coastal Spirit women's team at the moment, which is more off-field stuff than on-field. I've got a few friends who are involved with the team, and yeah, they've took a couple of steps back where they were a few years ago and dominating that league and winning games every week. But again, still got really experienced players. Still think they've got the best striker in the competition in Mel Cameron. So still think they'll be too strong, and hopefully they can keep progressing and get back on track, because it's good to see them when they are playing well.
Yeah, they should beat Hallsville. But yeah, they are a little bit weaker than last year, which was good for us. We went down there and got a draw out of them. But yeah, they've still got some strong players in there. So if they can get their team together again, they'll be strong for sure.
The very pleasing thing for me, Geeza, while I was away, was the fact that Nelson Suburbs now still holding that third position. So some good results. It seems like the team's building well. But, talk about taking on the top of the mountain this weekend. Kashmir Technical away.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on that, Geeza?
Well, because we just got over Unis in our last game and got that win, that was a tough challenge for us. We played really good there, and we got a few new systems that we're working on. And I'm quite confident about Cash Tech. I mean, I don't think we're going to go down there and win or destroy them or anything like that, but we've actually got a few extra players in, and we got one of our players coming back from the States, Tessa Highland. And Gina's going to play as well. So we've definitely got a strong team out there. We've got a really good system in place. And me and my assistant coach, Phil Platt, we've been doing a lot of digging into their team, doing a lot of analysis on them. So we really think we can make it tough for them. We might not beat them, but we're going to make it really difficult for them. And who knows, we could get 3 points out of this. Well, this is the game we'd love to win.
Well, you're travelling pretty well at the moment. If you look at last season and where you are now, there's only one way up from here, mate.
Yeah,
and
exactly. They are the
knock over the
big guns of the league. Obviously, they got our captain from last year, Anna McPhee. So yeah, a lot of the girls know each other socially. They know each other quite well. So yeah, we're confident. We're not worried about it, and I think we're going to go down there and surprise them.
Good stuff.
Yeah, scoreline could go
That's
anywhere.
Good to hear. That's 12 o'clock on Saturday, 18th, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's at Garrick Memorial Park. And the table looking at Kashmir Tech sitting on top, followed by University of Canterbury, and there you are sitting at third, and it's the top three that goes automatically through Southern League. So a couple of good results, and that could be you, Geeza.
Basically, we play the top of the table, and then we play the bottom of the table. Last two games, the qualifiers. We really want to get 3 points out of those two games, but obviously more would be better.
Yeah,
and it depends on other results as well. So it's pretty close there.
Good stuff. Southern League men and Coastal Spirit are taking on Dunedin City Royals. Skippy.
Yeah, again, Coastal going very, very well. Shout out to their captain, Andrew Storer, who did his ACL a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully can get his surgery and recover quickly. But yeah, sorry to see him off the pitch because he was doing really, really well for them. So, but again, without him there, it does make them a weaker team defensively. But I think that they've got good players in there at the moment, and Dunedin aren't travelling as well as they usually do. So I think Coastal will win that.
FC 2011 taking on University of Canterbury. So going to be a fairly tough game again for FC.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've seen the scores. They've only lost 3-1, 3-0. Defensively, it looks like they've sorted it out. I think they're making, it seems going off the results that they are making progress. So that'll be one they'll be targeting. Universities who are pretty much on the same points. Sorry, maybe 1 point ahead of them with 1 point. So they'll be targeting that as a game that staying up. Pretty much, can they get that win at home?
They get the points. That's the points they need. Yeah,
you'll be able to take some notes at the next game, Geeza, for Skippy. Kashmir Tech taking on Nomads at home, so that's after your game. What are your thoughts on that game?
Cash Tech are always a good team to watch. They're a great team. Have they lost their star player?
The main man's gone back to Ireland for 5 weeks.
Yeah, that could hurt them
to get married. So Garvin's gone back, and Lyle Matheson, who's another goal scorer for them, is going to the wedding as well. So there's a lot of people waiting to see what happens. But Garvin's Garvin. He scores goals. He's on 16 goals before he leaves. We've only played 6 rounds. So he's about, I think he averages 3.5 a game, which is unbelievable. So he'll be a big loss for any team. Yeah. So again, hopefully the players coming in to replace him don't feel the pressure.
Geez, imagine the coach. He'd be saying, "You're doing what? I'm getting married, coach. What?
Yeah, so
not in the middle of the season,
exactly,
you're not.
Yeah.
So done his job already.
So, but again, they're a good club, and they've also got good youngsters. So, but that'll be a good game because Nomads. To be fair to Nomads, we targeted them as one we could have won, but they were brilliant against us and played to our weaknesses and caught us out. So that'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be as one-sided as people think.
So when United taking on Christchurch United and not having it all their own way this year, Christchurch United.
Yeah, new team. Yeah, when Paul left, a lot of players left as well. So Ryan Edwards, who's came down from Petonies, he's had to rebuild there. And I think when you see them, when they come up here, they're a very young side. But they seem to do really, really well. And again, depends where Selwyn set up. If Selwyn go out and try to play football, they'll lose that one. But if they go out and try to be aggressive and turn it into a battle, then that's a game I don't think Christchurch United want to be in, the way they play. So that could be an interesting one as well.
Well, we're picking Christchurch United.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, they are.
It's just hyping Selwyn up there. Trying to get them up for it.
12:30 Sunday at Saxonfield is the big one. Nelson Suburbs taking on Ferrymead Bays, who started off the season pretty well. They were travelling well. So, your thoughts on the game for this one, Skippy? As you said, things haven't quite gone your way, and you had to really get the momentum going. Had a local win, and you'll be looking to get back on winning ways this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Again, we sort of lost one game, and everyone started looking at each other like, what's going on? It's, again, you're going to lose games of football. It's how you react to them. And unfortunately, we've been trying to find excuses where that doesn't happen in football. All you can do is find answers. So we've just told the boys that the main thing for them is to worry about themselves and their own performances and let us worry about the team as a whole. And if we all do that, then it can only do good things. And I can't fault them training on Tuesday. Last night, it was fantastic. The attitude's there. So, yeah, I think the boys are really looking forward to Sunday, and trying to get back to winning ways in the league.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I mean, the top four, Kashmir Tech, followed by Christchurch United, Coastal Spirit on 14, you're on 10 and 4th. Now, it all depends on results, doesn't it? Because Coastal Spirit taking on Dunedin City Royals, who aren't a slouch team, they might be further, down the park. But you're in touching distance of that top three, aren't you?
And that's why the Nomads one was very upsetting, because the way results went, we would have been 3 points off top, and it would have been a point, and it would have been tight. So we've probably let that slip a bit. But as you said, again, all you can do is keep winning and just see what happens above you. And we've got Christchurch coming up in a couple of weeks. So again, if we can win the next two and then go into that game picking points off them, then we can put ourselves right back in the mix.
12:30 Sunday, Saxonfield. Make sure you get down and support the guys. Nelson Suburbs taking on Ferrymead Bays. Phoenix men. Wow.
God, it was tight, wasn't it?
We're at the pointy end of the season, and before we talk about the Phoenix game, Central Coast Mariners 2-1 over Sydney FC. So they go away. They do all those flying hours.
Unbelievable.
They pick up the cup, then they come back and beat Sydney FC at home.
Unreal.
2-1. So they're peaking at the right time, aren't they?
Yeah. Did Sydney end up getting 2 men sent off? They did. Ended up 2 red cards.
Was it 2 red cards?
At the end, yeah. The guy from Sydney got 2 games as well. So even if they win, he misses the final. Which is even. It's the guy Rodwell, he's playing England. So he got straight red. So they've given him 2 games. So even if they win, he can't play in the final. So, but Central Coast, again, their week was hectic. And for them to come and grind that out away from home, it does show why they won the league. I think they are the team that everyone's chasing in the A-League at the moment. So, yeah, that second leg will be... I don't think that's done and buried, to be fair. I think Sydney will go for that. So that'll be an interesting second leg.
And then 0-0. And in fairness, watching the game, it could have gone probably either way. But I mean, the same thing as you've talked about all year, Skippy, just that ability to get behind the ball and block them out. So there were a couple of shots on goal, but you can't really say that Melbourne Victory had anything that was really threatening. There was a couple of chances.
Half chances
that were there. But the way that Phoenix all got behind the ball, and it didn't even look as though Victory could find a way through. And then it's just unfortunate. I mean, certainly in that first half when the ball went right across the face and how that didn't go in.
Yeah.
But, certainly Piney was saying all week, if we could come away with a draw, that Phoenix would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Chief will be happy. I'm not conceding as well. So that's a big thing, especially when it goes to aggregate. I think they would have... Yes, of course, they want to win, but to have a clean sheet and a 0-0 and coming back home to the Phoenix. Yeah, I can't. I can see Wellington being a good place to be on Saturday. I really do.
And even though the Central Coast Mariners have won in the past, they do have that ability, to sneak out the wins, but they didn't look a much better side than Phoenix, I thought, last time they met.
No, and it is close. And again, they've had a lot of games. They've played in the Asia Champions League and stuff as well, but in a final.
That's providing, of course, that Sydney FC.
I know, exactly.
You never know who's going to be in the final yet.
And I think Melbourne played their final in the last round. That game, it went to penalties. I think they've emptied the tank. So they've got the draw, but they're going to find it hard on Saturday at Wellington.
Going to be such a hard work.
Big crowd. Going to be a big crowd, isn't it?
Absolutely pouring down, and the wind's coming sideways because our players are used to it.
And the whole country will be behind.
Alex Ruffer loves it, so they love those conditions. They're used to it. Melbourne won't fancy it. But yeah, I hope it's good for New Zealand football that the Phoenix have been so good. And I've said it all year in the podcast. The job that coach has done there is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Just amazing. But there you go. So that's all to play for. What have we got? Saturday at 5. Is that 6:30 or 5:30? I can't even read that. 6:30.
Yeah.
So make sure you get ready for that. And that's if you aren't going to the game.
Yeah, there's a big crowd going up, I think.
There is, waving their shirts, showing off their suntans.
Last 50. Are you going up?
Everyone will go blind if I take my shirt off. That's for sure. And of course, another big weekend this weekend in the Premier League. And really, when you look at everything, and we'll just touch on a result this morning, Tottenham going down to Man City 2-0.
Yeah.
There's still in a make-up round Brighton and Chelsea, and
tomorrow,
Man U and Newcastle. Geeza.
Yeah.
What happens now? Do you just sort of
Yeah. You've got to keep going, haven't you?
You'll still watch it. You'll still watch it.
Yeah, and it was funny this morning with the Tottenham Man City game. All the Spurs fans are celebrating the Man City goals because they don't want Arsenal to win the league.
Yeah,
but yeah, Haaland.
Yeah, it was a good game this morning. I managed to watch it. It was, and Tottenham, to be fair, they started very well.
They did, didn't
and
they?
Frustrated and then Man City, De Bruyne, Haaland tapping, and then
they just waited, didn't they? Waited for their moment.
I mean, I watched. I'd say I watched half the Fulham game because after it was 2-0 up, I turned it off.
Yeah.
But just the way that they, because I thought at the start Fulham they had quite a lot of possession and they were doing okay and sort of holding them own, but Man City were just so patient, and then just slowly but surely they just
break teams down, don't they?
And they just get themselves in a position. Sometimes the goals aren't even magical, but they just put it away, and it ended up being 4-0.
Yeah.
It was like a walk in the park. And
I think their left back scored 2 goals, didn't they?
Yeah. He scored that first one, which was
combining with De Bruyne, number 10 in there from the left back position.
And they just make it look so easy. And I, if we talk about what it comes down to now, when you look at the ladder, the bottom 3 are sorted, aren't they?
Yep.
Now, is it true, Skippy? We were talking before. Nottingham Forest have already lost their points, so
they're done.
There's no more points to be lost.
They're good, so
there's no way Luton.
Luton are down. I think the goal difference is huge as well.
It is.
Vincent Company's down as well.
So even if they win, they'll go on equal, but the goal difference is much worse.
It's like 21, I think. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me, but it's quite big.
No, it's -9. Nottingham Forest -19.
And 19.
So there's no chance. And then Burnley gone, Sheffield gone. So Nottingham Forest, after all that, survive. So it's not really a story there this coming round. The story is Man City versus West Ham. David Moyes' last game.
Yeah, still only going to be one winner.
But away.
Yeah.
And Arsenal.
I see West Ham scoring maybe 1 goal, but they're not going to win the game.
And then Arsenal at home versus Everton. So granted, Everton could upset if it was at home, but I can't see that. So really, unless there's a massive upset,
you've got the champions.
It's done, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Phil Thompson will just be going. Yeah. I don't know what you guys were even talking about. I told you it was going to be easy.
Yeah, but again, it just shows how good Man City are. They lose games, but they don't panic like any other club and go into a slump where they win 2 or 3 or 4. They lose 1. And then they win for a bit, and then they might lose another one, but then they're back on the horse again.
I mean, it was just the poise that they played. I didn't see this morning's game, but against Fulham, there was just so much class.
Yeah, but I don't know if you saw Pep's reaction today against Spurs.
Oh, they were on the pitch celebrating. They sort of knew that was the one.
Son had a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. Pep hit the floor, dropped on the floor. He couldn't watch. It was quite an emotional game. But and like you say, Spurs were really good starting off the game. I don't know if you've
seen Big Ange's interview after. But strange.
No, I didn't.
He was saying that it's been a rough 48 hours around the club. I can't say too much more. And so I don't know.
Oh, right.
I sort of watched that interview going, what?
It was interesting because he came out earlier talking about the fact that if we are to go forward, I mean, he's not happy at fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like that because he's setting the standard. He's saying, I'm here to win the league. I'm not here to get into the Championship League. I want to win. And if we're going to do that, there's going to be changes.
Yeah.
And he came out and made a big call. Now, the previous coach said exactly the same thing. Yeah. Is there something at Tottenham where, and it's interesting that he comes out and says that, because after that statement, has he now started having discussions with the owners? And is there something at Tottenham that stops that? Because the previous coach said exactly the same thing. If we want to win, we've got to make changes.
Well, the guy, is it Levy, the chairman there? He seems to, I think he's still there, but I watched the documentary when Jose was there, and he's very hands-on for a chairman. And you see it in the episodes. He's always around, and he's down
a lot.
He's down in the breakfast room chatting to the players, and it's just, I don't know. Again, Ange is used to winning. He goes to win. He's done it in Australia. He's done it at national level. He's done it at Celtic. He's done it in Japan. He's not happy to settle for, we're in the Champions League, whoop-de-doo. He wants to push to win the Premier League, and that's the way he is. And I think they've got a brilliant coach in him. And again, they've had, as you said, they've had brilliant coaches before, but you need to sort it up upstairs.
It's not consistent enough.
They're like Man United.
Well, I mean, for him,
there has to be.
There has to be something stopping there. And that must be just a power game. As you say, if the owner is saying, well, I've got my own opinions, you know, I mean, I look at my own club that I support, Fulham, and this multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
And we've got the same team as we did last year. In fact, it's worse.
Not spending any money. No
is it just they're quite happy to stay there? What is all that about?
And the thing with Spurs is as well, now I don't know if I've just watched some of the TV shows, I think, but they do loads of stuff now at their stadium. It's not just football. They've signed a deal with an American football team that play there 4 times a year and all sorts. So is it because they still haven't paid for the stadium? Is that where all the resources have gone?
I mean, it's an amazing stadium.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, they sold Harry Kane. Did he get money to replace Harry Kane? I don't think so. They bought the young guy Johnson from Notts Forest.
Right. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And again, you see other clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea, especially Chelsea, going out and spending these wads of money trying to improve the team, and maybe Ange is seeing it and going, well, I want to do more.
Because he said exactly the same thing.
You got to be careful who you
as
buy
the previous coach. So there must be something there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting
that he's clashing
out
with.
Because I went on Twitter straight after it. That was just everywhere. Bang, bang, bang. Did you see the interview? Ange's interview. He hasn't been happy all week. All his interviews all week have been a bit.
And it could have been because he came out and made the comment that there's got to be changes. You know, maybe that would have cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll watch this space. Man United coach, mate. Big hand.
You never know. They need to do something.
Yeah, big hand, mate.
I was looking through their new signings and hardly any of them have done anything.
Yeah.
They need, you'll probably know.
I don't know if you've seen it. They need to get a new roofer in there, mate. Did you see the roof?
Yeah, it's waterfalls.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Oh my God. I had seen the jokes on Twitter.
No, just some, people saying sums up the season.
They celebrating the corner, just caution in the wind. Crazy.
Okay, so it's all to do. Really, it comes down to 2 games. We can talk about the other games, but really, it's Man City versus West Ham.
Huge.
You know, the only thing really West Ham has got to play for is pride, and of course David Moyes, who has done a good job at the club, and it's sad to see him go.
That was strange to see that. To be fair, they've just parted ways. So I don't know if Davey's over it or they
off at the same time as well.
They think they need a new look, but he's done a great job there.
Yeah, he has.
So yeah, it'd be sad to see him out of the Premier League.
And then Arsenal, Everton, and as you said, at the same time. So it's going to be they're going to have the split.
Oh, we love it.
It's going to be nerve-wracking.
But what we want is West Ham to go 1-0 up, and then we'll watch those screens. Yeah,
great.
I remember we had it a couple of years ago with Liverpool
and
Man City, and Aston Villa went 2-0 up, and Gerrard was, and they drew 3-0. And Liverpool, they beat Liverpool by a point. It's crazy.
I remember it. They got the message through, and they thought they'd already lost.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, there you go. All to do this weekend, both with the Phoenix and of course the Premier League, and then on Sunday, go and support the boys at Saxon Field. Thanks very much for coming in, guys.
No, always
thanks,
a pleasure.
Skippy, once again. Thanks, Geeza. Travelling really well, mate. You must be happy with the season. Keep up the good work. My thanks to our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel, Neil Geeza Harding and Ryan Skippy Stewart, and of course, Bays Joinery, George and the team for their support. You can catch this and other podcasts on MBS talknelson.co.nz, our social media channels, and on Spotify under MBS Talk Nelson. We'll see you again next week on the Bays Joinery Football Focus.
What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.